Wine Weirdos.
Christopher.
Today we're going to check out a one Michelin star restaurant called Commis.
It's located in Oakland, and we're going to take you through a multi-course dinner.
The first official course was an oyster with frozen kumquat, elderflower, and black pepper, and this was paired with a sparkling Italian wine from Durella.
What I really enjoyed about this dish, which really just showed the hand, was the execution, the presentation. Super organic, which carried over onto the palate. Really creamy, but very organic. I got all the salinity of the East Coast seawater.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of oysters to start with, but there was a tartness to the kumquat and the black pepper that really brought out the brininess in a wonderful way, and the sparkling Italian was brilliant with it.
Exactly, the brine and the sparkling were very memorable.
This first course started to really speak to the level of cooking that was going on at Commis. The second course was seawater brined bay scallops, rhubarb and radish, and flowering coriander. And this was paired with a brilliant 1991 Cabernet Riesling from Max Ferd.
Which was still very vibrant, fresh, and structured, which, as we can see as we move to from the oyster dish to this, we carried a much more vegetal presentation, which was just opening my eyes as well as my palate. And I would say the scallop underneath, stunning. The brine carrying through from that sparkler to the Riesling, brilliantly.
Yeah, the rhubarb was a really clever pairing here as well. And the 1991 Riesling was special. It was my wine of the night. And just the sort of audacity to be pouring a 1991 Riesling by the glass for a $55 wine pairing is just stunning and surprising and exciting.
Yeah, Commis delivered on value and quality.
Yeah, for me, this was one of the highlights of the night. Third up was the asparagus and chlorophyll smoked trout mousse with sorrel. This was paired with a Friulano from Italy in 2012. And for me, the ante just kept getting higher here. This just escalated into absolute brilliance. The asparagus was so green with the chlorophyll. It had just an overwhelming greenness to it, but it was so well balanced with the smoked trout mousse and the sorrel.
Yeah, I love the trout mousse. It was stunning against that puree. Absolutely wonderful.
Yep.
The best cuts of asparagus I've had.
Yes.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
Friulani, my wine of the night.
Yeah, this was an exquisite dish and just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, this is the reason why we travel for food right here.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Fourth up was the slow poached egg yolk with buckwheat and spice and warm potato. This was poured with a 2011 Languedoc, which was really a nice compliment here.
This was probably the best breakfast I've ever had in my life. It was biscuits and gravy with eggs Benedict together, but it was very much a soup.
Was this one paired with the bread as well? There was only one bread coursing of the night, and it was quite delectable.
This is highly, highly memorable. And that runny egg blending into the soup was just like, it took me to a place where I was transcending into a different area.
I agree.
And on the palate especially.
Yeah, we were having a real hippie experience up in Oakland with this dish.
Exactly.
Transcendent. It was truly brilliant, though. Excellent stuff.
I could eat it for breakfast every morning.
That would be preferred. The fifth course and the fourth seafood dish actually was sea bream with spring peas and legumes, fernet with capers and young garlic, and this was paired with a Solis Russian River Valley Pinot.
Very happy to see the Solis. Those peas were amazing.
Yes.
How crunchy and crisp and just explode in your mouth.
Yep.
Peas.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the distinction is between young garlic and garlic, but the garlic was a very subtle, lovely textural thing going on with the sea bream, and exquisitely cooked piece of fish.
Absolutely.
And who could, what more could you ask for than Solis up in the Bay Area? Course 6 was a Tusani of button mushrooms, and they explained to us the way they made this. It was pretty simple. They took a lot of button mushrooms and they stewed them in water for about 24 hours.
Do not be confused by the presentation of this dish, because it is simple.
Yes.
But exquisite on the palate.
Yes.
This took the transcendence of all the prior coursings and elevated it to almost an emotional state.
Yes.
The character, the flavors on the palate were exquisite.
Yeah, this was really incredible. It was the most brilliant yet simple essence of mushroom that I've ever experienced at a restaurant. It was really, really special. I think at this point we weren't pairing any wine with it, but it was just, we were all blown away by how flavorful and rich and just wonderful the umami-ness of this mushroom broth is. It was really incredible, and we were still talking about this days after.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the dishes of the whole trip.
Focus and simplicity beats out complication any day.
Course 7 was grilled lamb saddle with oregano, oats, and grains with artichoke. This was paired with a 2012 Saint Joseph. And that was actually a really nice pairing. I thought it would be too young, being a 2012, but it had opened really nicely in the glass. And this was really enjoyable. It was the main, sort of meat dish of the night. I did not enjoy it as much as the previous dishes.
But as you can see, we got into it before this photo was taken. And this goes to let's talk on Commis a little and their focus and their discipline in the kitchen, which is exceptional because every dish that came out, we just could not hold ourselves back.
Yep.
And now looking at this, I'm realizing how eager and ambitious we were about this pairing.
It was so exciting.
This service.
Yeah.
It was so exciting. And as a meat dish, just the most perfectly piece of cooked meat I've had.
Yes.
I would have to say, as you can see, as things are moving around the plate, you can see it got a little lost in there, but it was still very much on par with that focus and discipline that we'd been seeing the whole dinner.
And I like that they had a sort of through line with the greenness continuing here, as similar to the sea bream and some of the earlier dishes.
Yeah, the organic nature of it just present at all times.
It's stunning. If you see how cramped and tiny the little kitchen they have in the middle of the restaurant is, you'll be shocked to know that there's this level and quality of food coming out of there. Course 8 was the beer washed cow's milk cheese with dates and amaranth.
I have to say, one of the more savory dishes of the night for me.
Yeah, it was a really nice turning point in moving from the lamb and then into dessert. It was a really clever way to transition between the two because there was the sweetness of the cheese and sort of the crunch of the amaranth, which I really enjoyed. This was a really tasty little spoonful.
And perfectly portioned because it's extremely rich. And as you can see, the presentation, we moved from green to dairy, and look at that beautiful wood it's on. Stunning and stunning on the table. Absolutely.
Really nice. The dessert of the night, and this was course 9, was the perfumed sour apples with yogurt, parsnip, pudding, and caramel. This was pretty cool.
I'm a big fan of sorbet, and this delivered. The pudding was just stunning. It was served probably around 40 degrees, so it gave off the ice cream sense, but it had all the creaminess of pudding.
And I loved that it wasn't too sweet. The yogurt added a little bit of acidity and tang, so this was a really nice ending for me because I don't like overly sweet desserts.
I found this not sweet at all. It was a very tart driven and almost a bitter edge on the dairy on it.
Excellent. So that concluded our dinner at Commis, and overall, I have to say it's in the top 5 of meals I've had in my life.
We will be revisiting without a doubt.
The value's incredible at $95 for the tasting menu and $55 for the wine pairing.
They do have a very small dining room, so we do recommend reservations. But if you're in the area or going to be in the area, this is a must stop.
Absolutely. Excellent stuff.